Chainlink is what we're going to be talking about in this video. And I certainly feel like people aren't really that interested in probably what is going to be one of the most crucial blockchains in regards to the digital world that we are moving towards. And that, I think, is slightly shocking. And whether that's because people don't quite understand the role that Chainlink is trying to play in this kind of digitized, tokenized world and actually be a kind of key part of it, enabler of the whole thing or not, or whether that's just because the price hasn't really moved perhaps like others. It's still done very well for us. Chainlink's at one point was my largest position just because of how well it did, certainly early on after kind of breaking out of that range. But maybe it's because the price action hasn't quite caught retail's attention enough. But retail is typically always late to the party. We know this. And we kind of want to make this video just to tell people to absolutely continue to keep an eye on this blockchain project, because it's extremely promising. Certainly if you understand the world that we're moving towards and you understand the fact that Chainlink are already working towards, with some of the largest financial kind of players in the world, the largest in many cases, to actually enable this. And that is extremely attractive, to be an early speculator / investor in a technology that you can own a piece of that secures the network. You know, it's a very exciting kind of, I guess, opportunity that we have in front of us. So that's what this video is predominantly going to be about. We're going to be starting the video off by talking about the tokenization of the global financial system and how it's inevitable and why it's inevitable, but also why Chainlink is a key factor in that. And the question that you've got to ask yourself is, well, what's the value of a blockchain and its token that essentially is the kind of connective tissue in regards to the new financial world that we're moving towards? What's the value in that? I'm really not that sure. Is it $1 trillion project? Is it a $500 billion project? Is it $100 billion? I really don't know what the kind of value of that is, but there's going to be, I think, a big push for it to be valuable because of the importance of the role that it's playing. I think one reason that not just Chainlink, but the entire industry has been kind of held back is due to the kind of regulatory uncertainty from the United States. The SEC, of course, CFTC has been a lot better than the SEC. In fact, the CFTC have been kind of fighting to have crypto in their commodity domain, whereas the SEC has been kind of doing a bit of a land grab. But actually, just today, we saw the SEC back down on claiming Sol, ADA, Matic, and other tokens that were mentioned in those lawsuits. I believe Chainlink actually was as securities. They've actually backed down on that. They've retracted their request for the judge to classify these as securities, which is a big step, I think, in the right direction. We've seen things like XRP get classified as non-security. Obviously, Ethereum now through the door. Likely Sol's going to follow. And then I think actually Chainlink being a critical part of not just the new financial system that we're moving towards, but the kind of system that we already have within the blockchain space. You know, one thing, Chainlink did a lot of things for me back in 2018. Not only did it make me a lot of money because of the run that it had from, you know, when we were looking at it. I think I first heard of it from a Tika Tawari. I don't even really know a lot about Tika Tawari, but I think he was on, I can't remember what it was. And he'd mentioned a number of coins, and Chainlink was on. I thought, oh, I'll look into that. And when I looked into it, it was this idea of applying a distributed ledger to essentially data feeds. And instead of having a centralized entity doing that, coming up with a way to do that in a decentralized manner using a distributed ledger. And that's kind of when I went, actually, this is really cool. This is not only cool, it's needed within the crypto space, because one thing that blockchains are horrific at doing is getting off-chain data on-chain. Whereas Chainlink kind of was that middleman, but it did it in a decentralized way. So not only was that really cool, but it kind of really, again, opened my eyes up to the broader sort of application of distributed ledgers, and enabled DeFi. DeFi summer wouldn't have happened without Chainlink. And the importance that Chainlink plays within the crypto space is going to be amplified outside of the crypto space. And it's going to literally be, in my opinion, that connective tissue. And that is extremely appealing. CCIP is all about that. They're already working with DTCC, the largest clearinghouse in the world, Euroclear. Swift banking system. You know, all the biggest banks are literally looking at Chainlink right now, and some of them even piloting programs to essentially bridge the traditional financial system with the kind of on-chain world. And I think that is worth paying attention to. And the fact that you get to sort of own a share of that, own a chunk of that, to me, that's a value proposition. Chainlink is a significant position of mine, to say the least. If you want to unlock my portfolio, do consider becoming a patron. So this is from Ryan Renz, whose Twitter handle is @ChainlinkGod. Interesting. So the tokenization of global financial systems is inevitable. We know that Larry Fink back in 2023, it might be the start of 2023, actually said this. Now he's the guy probably most in the know in regards to the direction. He was massive on ETFs in regards to the direction that financial instruments are going in, because he owns the largest asset management fund that deals with financial instruments in the world. So he'd be very clued up on that. So it very much is inevitable. But to reach its full potential, 2 roadblocks must be overcome. Blockchain fragmentation, off-chain data access. So we have Chainlink's Oracle solution to solve the latter, and we have CCIP to sort of solve not just the fragmentation within the cryptocurrency space and be that interconnective system, but actually to connect the blockchain world with the traditional financial world, so that we can have this kind of internet of value that Chainlink is trying to essentially enable. So here's how Chainlink makes tokenization finance a practical reality. First, why do institutions even care about tokenization? It's easy to see tokenization as being a radical departure from the status quo, but the real radical charge was the shift from paper to digital agreements. Tokenization is simply a obvious yet powerful optimization. And this optimization is absolutely necessary. The financial system today consists of a fragmented collection of siloed databases controlled by a never-ending series of rent-seeking intermediaries. It is impossible for anyone to achieve a complete view of the entire system. Yeah, so if you think about the blockchain space is very siloed. The technical challenge is, how do you get these blockchains to talk to one another? Well, the traditional financial system is very much like that in regards to, you have these kind of databases or systems at these various financial institutions, but they have very kind of Web 2 natures of talking to one another that often have problems, and we saw with chaps and things like this. Whereas, so Chainlink not only is solving a crypto problem, it's solving a banking problem that people extract money from the banks with, and ultimately it's cumbersome anyway. So it's this entire kind of innovation that Chainlink is bringing to the financial system, as well as the crypto space, and actually merging them together in the form of sort of creating tokenization. So tokenization resolves this fragmentation by consolidating the financial system and its siloed databases into a single shared network. Chainlink will enable. In tokenized finance, blockchain serves as a golden source of truth for the state of an asset agreement. Not only do blockchains record and verify asset ownership, but they also serve as a programmable execution layer and immutable data storage layer. So we've previously spoken about, actually, if you build on a blockchain, the Web 2 systems, you know how we see hacks all the time? It's very hard to hack a blockchain. It's easy to hack centralized things, and it's very hard to hack decentralized things. Certainly blockchains, and sort of tinker with the meta that's within them. So blockchains solve the kind of IT security stack risk. And Chainlink is kind of applying that meta, or that kind of idea to finance, which is very easy to sort of, or we've seen, I don't say very easy, I wouldn't know how to, but it's sort of, we've seen a lot of hacks in the traditional financial system. So the net result is clear. Tokenization is the superior way to represent assets. We know this. Roadblock number 1, blockchain fragmentation. The idea that all the world's transactions can be recorded on a single blockchain ledger is completely unrealistic. Yes, I mean, if you think about the broad application, not just finance, that these distributors are going to be used for, it's quite reasonable to think that. This stands from both a technical perspective, scalability, and from a practical perspective, social coordination. Although that's kind of the role that Chainlink is trying to facilitate. Already today, there's hundreds of chains, and as the costs of launching a chain continues to drop, this number will multiply. So there's thousands of chains at this point, by the way, guys. Is multi-chain fragmentation no different than database fragmentation in TradFi? Is there a single shared network vision of tokenization unachievable? This is exactly where cross-chain interoperability comes into play. Chainlink CCIP enables the multi-chain ecosystem to operate as if it were one unified network. Assets from between different chains just as easily as data packets are sent across the internet today. And this is kind of how things are going to look in the sort of future. For tokenized assets, cross-chain isn't a nice to have, but a requirement. Absolutely. To maximize liquidity, assets need to be available across all chains that our counterparty may exist. Chainlink works with ANZ. AU is one example of how CCIP enables cross-chain trade settlements. These are one of the largest asset managers, banks within Australia. This one of many that Chainlink's currently sort of working with and piloting at the moment. In addition to chain-to-chain interoperability, CCIP also serves as a blockchain abstraction layer. Chainlink's work with Swift showcased how CCIP enables institutions to connect to any public/private chain using their existing backed infrastructure and messaging standard. So I'm sure many of you have already seen this. We know about Swift. This is why I wanted to do this video. It's very apparent to me that Chainlink is going to be used in tomorrow's world for these reasons entirely. And this is what we've been talking about Chainlink now for as long as we've had a channel. And I've been talking about Chainlink now for as long as I've been in the crypto space. Roadblock number 2, off-chain data access. Eliminates information asymmetry via tokenization, requires that all relevant data about an asset can be recorded on chain. So it's global, there's a state to it, if you will. If data remains off chain across fragmented databases, then blockchains cannot possibly serve as a golden source of truth. This is the classic blockchain oracle problem that Chainlink was originally built to solve. Again, what initially got me attracted to Chainlink. Over the past 5 years, Chainlink's data feed have become the standard for on-chain financial market data. It's absolutely true. Securing over 60 billion in TVL at its peak and over $12 trillion in transaction volume. It's already being used in the crypto space. That's going to be, you're going to see hundreds of trillions being sort of transacted through Chainlink. He then goes on to say, Chainlink enables asset issuers and institutions to bring any data on chain, standing settlement instructions, corporate action, proxy voting, dividends and interest, net asset value. Chainlink's work with DTCC brought NAV, data on chain from tokenized mutual funds. So this is their NAV data. It's all here, guys. I mean, if anybody that's out there sort of hating on Chainlink, you've got to just sort of kind of ask your question, well, why? Maybe you don't like it, you like another Oracle service or something like that, but Chainlink's in a prime position. So when combined with CCIP, data recorded on chain can be transferred alongside a tokenized asset as it moves across chain. Any asset, any data, any chain, on chain and off chain, all synchronized by Chainlink. The ultimate value of Chainlink for tokenization is not just its cross-chain or data capabilities, but the fact it serves as a universal platform for all the services a tokenized economy needs, but blockchains alone don't provide. Again, agreed. Beyond just being a narrative, Chainlink has been actively working with the largest financial institutions in the world on bringing capital markets on-chain. I tell you what, I love making Chainlink videos because I don't have to even back up what I'm saying. It's all there. I don't have to argue very hard. I have to always back up what I'm saying. That wasn't the right thing to say there. I don't have to argue very hard in regards to why I think Chainlink's going to be successful. And I understand it's maybe not sexy as some of the coins out there, and it might not have done as much, so people might not be that interested. But this is a real opportunity. This is not financial advice that we're giving whatsoever. I don't care. Don't buy Chainlink. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. But we're here highlighting this is impressive. This is like, genuinely world-changing stuff, and Chainlink is at the sort of helm of it. So Swift, DTCC, JP Morgan, BNY Mellon, BNP, Citi, US Bank, State Street, ANZ, Euroclear. These are literally the largest institutions in the world. Clearstream, Investco, Edward Jones, Franklin Templeton, Lloyd Banking Group, America Custody, American Century Investment, MS Investment, Six Digital. I mean, just yesterday we heard that Chainlink are now sort of working with 21 Shares and their Ethereum ETP. It's just unbelievable, undeniable. So this thread is just a brief summary, and I thought it was a brilliant thread. It's one that I really, really wanted to share. I'll just see how we're doing for time. So this has gone on for 15 minutes. We were going to do a bit of a price analysis, and I'll quickly do it. Maybe if you guys want a far longer video on Chainlink's price, do let me know. Chainlink very much... So not only is it very much doing what Cardano did in this cycle here, you know, you've had this kind of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, you're having this kind of a correction. A sort of more recent analogy, which was a stock that we were very bullish on, was the IWM, and obviously we were bullish for the reasons that Stan Druckenmiller is who Stan Druckenmiller is. You can see you get this kind of range. This range is a little bit more produced. You get a break. You get a consolidation that you break out of. That's kind of where Chainlink is today. So I don't want to go too far into Chainlink. We'll save that for another video. If you want that video, do let me know. But what we wanted to do was sort of re-highlight Chainlink and tell you guys to pay attention. This is a very promising and interesting blockchain that is going to see real-world adoption because of the reasons that we've spoken about in this video. That's it from me, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed the content, like us, appreciate it, as a comment, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next.